Alright, this is our first new YouTube video for the cross-platform version of the Kirby calculator. This is version 0.3 alpha, which will be posted in mid to late February. Again, this is cross-platform. The same program runs with compatible files on both Mac OS X and on Windows machines. It can probably be compiled for Linux as well, although I haven't messed with it. A lot of the features are the same, but the interface has been improved a bit. Let's start a new diagram. As before, you click and drag to draw a component. To draw your knot, you can stop and then start again if you like. And just make sure the ends join up, of course, to make a full component here. Crossings are over crossings by default. If you want to do under crossings, as I'll do here, hold down Shift as you drag, so you can just weave in and out over, under, over, under, over, under, and make a second component. So here's a starting point. Once you're happy with the sketch, you can process. And let me just refresh here to clean up the picture a bit. You can now specify for each component whether it's a one-handle or a two-handle as before, and what the framing should be. I'm going to make this a +1 frame two-handle, and the other one I don't really care. I'll keep it in what it is. Once you're happy, you can accept. Before I go any further, let me say an added feature now is that when you're editing, you can actually highlight a crossing, and clicking switches that crossing. So if you realize you've made a slight crossing mistake, or if you want to just sketch your knot with all over crossings and fix it later, that's now an option. Any crossing can be switched simply by hovering it and clicking. So let's accept. Let me simplify first a bit. Okay, that's a bit nicer. Let me just put a figurative scenario out there. Suppose we had this diagram, and obviously you see this +1 framed component. And if you recall the way we drew it, I think it was drawn as an unknot. However, so we'd like to blow it down, say. Blow down this +1 framed handle. Well, it's not in good shape for that right now. What we need for a blowdown is the same as before. We need a ±1 frame two handle. It needs to have no self-crossings and no crossings on one side of it. For instance, this 0 framed handle would be great to blow down as it stands, except that it doesn't have the right framing. So let's blow down the +1. Well, obviously this +1 appears to be unlinked, at least I hope it is, but it's all tangled up with the red 0 frame component. And if you want to disentangle it, there's a new feature, this focus. You can right-click, or on a Mac command-click on a component, and get a diagram. You'll notice the red is faded out if you can see it at all. You get a new diagram, well, the same diagram, sorry, but a view of it that focuses on one strand, and you can focus on more strands by shift command-clicking or shift right-clicking them. Usually it's just one, though, I think. Now what I get is the option of doing all the standard Reitermeister moves, the usual ones, but only relative to this blue knot. So you'll notice that as I move around, the faces that are highlighted for moves are just the ones relative to the blue knot, these meta faces, not the full faces of the entire diagram. So two move here, two move there. Oh yeah, looks like we're in good shape. A one move and another one move. Well, you'll notice the red's gotten to be a big mess. I can simplify a bit. Oh, still kind of a big mess. And here's what I end up with now. My +1 is, I think, ready to go. You'll notice that there are no self-crossings and no crossings on the inside. If there were crossings on the inside or outside, if you clicked on this face, once it's to a nice loop here in the metaface mode, that would clear out the crossings for you. Okay, so let me go ahead. It's ready. I'll just blow it down. Well, that's quite a mess of a diagram. I can try and simplify, but there's not much to be done. This is where we sit. Let me show a few more features now that we have this sort of nonsense diagram up. First of all, these sketch and edit modes are now available even once you've got a diagram. Now, they'll change the manifold, obviously, if you aren't careful. So these aren't for everyday use necessarily, but should you have a diagram and want to mess with it, you can go straight to edit mode. And you get all the same features as before. I can choose whether it's a one-handle or two-handle. This shouldn't be a one-handle, obviously. Or I could modify the framing if I wanted to. Also, I can, go through and change crossings. Well, of course, would you want to do this? Most of the time, no, because it changes the manifold. But you could, if you wanted to mess with things. Once you're done, you can accept, or you can cancel and go back. I freed up a bit here, so maybe this simplifies a bit more. Not so much. So this is the diagram we've got. Again, improvements to the interface. You get to see what you're doing. Say I want to pull this strand over here. You get a bit more visual indication of what's going on as you do stuff. Also, if we go all the way back, Every move that was performed is noted up top. So this is a simplification, and you can step forward and back as before, but now there's a bit more indication of what happened. We did a meta 2 move here, then a meta 2 move, then a meta 1 move, then a meta 1 move. It's funny, it's kind of hard to see sometimes in this form, but those are all valid moves. We simplified, we blew it down, and we got this. We simplified again. Notice if you did a move that really modified the diagram into edit mode or sketch mode, you're going to get at least some stars around to indicate, hey, something odd happened here. Well, one last little preview. Sketch mode is now available from whatever diagram you've got, and you can modify your diagram in any way you like. For instance, haven't shown the select yet. You can now select bits of the knot, and in the future this might be a copy and paste sort of option, but right now you can delete by pressing the delete button. Delete parts of your knot, and of course once you go back to drawing mode, you'll see all your ends highlighted. Well, they have to be joined up before you're going to be allowed to process, because you can't have a open component here. But you can modify the diagrams in other ways as well. Once you've processed, well, I've actually introduced a new strand, so it's lost the component data. I mean, this can go back to -1, and this can be +2. It doesn't really matter. And I've got a new diagram. Refresh, maybe simplify a bit. No simplifications. So that's a quick preview of what's now available. The handle slide and blow up, I guess I'll put in another video. This one's probably getting a bit long. Again, this is all available at KirbyCalculator.net, and for future improvements soon to come.